This week, week 5 of the NFL season, our Houston Texans take on the Atlanta Falcons. And if we're being honest here, Falcons fans, if you're watching, Texans fans, this game is a battle of two disappointing teams. The Falcons are currently 1-3. The Texans are 2-2, which isn't that bad, but they haven't looked too good in half of their games. So it's a battle between two disappointing teams that going into the season, both of these teams had playoff hopes. Now, they can both still make the playoffs, especially the Texans playing in such a weak division, but still though, both of these teams, they haven't looked that good. Now, the Falcons, they come into this game at 1-3, having lost 2 in a row. In fact, their last 2 losses, they lost to AFC South teams. They lost to the Colts, and then last week lost to the Titans. Now, just because the Falcons are currently sitting at 1-3 doesn't mean they're not a talented team. In fact, this Falcons team has a lot of talent, especially on the offensive side of the ball. On offense, they got players like Matt Ryan. Now look, even though Matt Ryan has been struggling this season, last year, Matt Ryan had an MVP caliber season, but it flew totally under the radar. And not only that, he actually did win an MVP a few years back. So, Matt Ryan, even though he's struggling right now, he can definitely catch on fire at any given moment, any game against any team, and that includes this game in week 5 versus the Texans, which for them, it's essentially a must-win game, because if they don't win, the Falcons fall to 1-4, and digging yourself out of 1-4 is going to be kind of difficult. So this game should be a must-win game for the Falcons. Now, not only do they have Matt Ryan, they have Julio Jones, one of the better wide receivers in the NFL. They have Mohamed Sanu, another wide receiver who's pretty good as well. And they have Calvin Ridley, another very good wide receiver who plays in the slot. They also have Austin Hooper at tight end, who's been going off this year. He's Matt Ryan's favorite target, it seems like. And even on defense, they have some players. They have Grady Jarrett, who I feel like is pretty underrated interior defensive lineman. Very good. They got Deion Jones, linebacker, Desmond Trufant at corner. They did have Keanu Neal at safety, but unfortunately, he got hurt. So, yeah, that sucks. Now, before we go further in depth into this game, let's talk a little bit about the Texans. In this game, what Texans offense will show up? Will it be the week 1 and week 3 offense, the one we saw versus the Saints and Chargers? Or will it be the week 2 and 4 offense, the one we saw last week versus the Panthers and in week 2 versus the Jaguars? Like, really, I don't know what offense we're getting. Like, right now, it is too early in the season to really determine the trend here. Like, what is the trend with this offense? And will they be able to break the trend? Now, what's the trend? Is it the time the game is being played? Because if you look at the both bad offensive games, they were both played at 12 p.m. The two good offensive games, one was played Monday Night Football primetime versus the Saints. The other one was at 3 p.m. So is it that, I don't know, maybe 12 p.m. is just too early for the Texans all of a sudden? I don't know. Or maybe is it a home and away thing? When the Texans are on the road this season, they put up points. Offensively, they're dominant. But when they're at home, they can't get the ball moving. Is that the trend? Or is it also in every other week thing? Because, week 1, good offense. Week 2, bad offense. Week 3, good offense. Week 4, bad offense. Is that the trend? Or maybe it's just inconsistencies. I don't know. Usually I like to look for trends. And so far, those are the ones that I can come up with. Obviously, like I said, it's too early to determine what is actually going on. But usually I like to look at trends when it comes to teams. So let's see what happens this week with the Texans. Hopefully it's not a home or away thing because we're playing at home. Hopefully it's just them being inconsistent and they're able to break that for the rest of the season. But let's get into this game. Let's start off with the Falcons offense versus the Texans defense. Let's start off with the run game like we usually do. The Falcons this season, they've struggled to run the ball this year. While the Texans, they've been pretty good stopping the run this year. Now, last year, the Texans were downright dominant in stopping the run. You just couldn't run the ball on the Texans last year. This year, that's not the case. Yes, we have a good run defense, but it is definitely not as good as it was last year. Why is that? I don't know. You could say it's Clowney. You could say Kareem Jackson. You could say we're playing better offenses. You could say any of those things, and you could be right. But, yeah, the Falcons haven't been able to run the ball this year. Texans, they've been stopping the run pretty good. So, I expect the Texans to completely shut down the Falcons' running game. I mean, Falcons O-line, it isn't that good. I expect DJ Reader, Watt, Merciless, McKinney, and Cunningham to completely stop them. But I mean, to the Falcons, this don't really matter. The Falcons, they'd rather pass the football anyways. That's how their offense is built. So, them not being able to run the ball, I'm sure they don't care. Now, let's move on to the passing game. The Falcons' passing attack versus the Texans' pass defense. Now, the Falcons this year, they've been able to pass the ball pretty well this season. Matt Ryan, he's just been a bit of a turnover machine this year. He's been turning the ball over quite a bit, so yeah. But regardless, I think Matt Ryan has all these weapons. Like I said, Julio, Hooper, Ridley, Sanu. He has all these weapons. And I fully expect Matt Ryan and those weapons to shred the Texans secondary. Now, lucky for the Texans, this isn't 7-on-7 football, or else they'd completely get shredded. Because the Falcons, the way you can stop their weapons, you rattle Matt Ryan. And Matt Ryan's been getting rattled quite a lot this season. The Falcons' O-line isn't very good, like I said. Last week versus the Titans, the Falcons' O-line allowed 12 quarterback hits. 12 quarterback hits. That's a lot. If you guys thought Deshaun Watson got hit a lot last week, well, Matt Ryan got hit 2 more times than Watson did. So the Falcons' O-line isn't good. They have a rookie right tackle, a backup right guard. They have a good center, a bad left guard, and a meh left tackle with Jake Matthews. I don't really think that highly of him. Sorry, Falcons fans, but was never a fan of him. But, yeah. If the Titans' pass rush was able to get 12 hits on Matt Ryan, this Texans pass rush should be able to do just as good, if not better. Because the Titans pass rush isn't that good compared to the Texans pass rush. So, the way we stop Matt Ryan, the way we slow this offense down, is if we get pressure on Matt Ryan all day. Pretty much the same game plan we had against Phillip Rivers week 3. Same game plan. They have a bunch of good weapons. Our secondary isn't good enough to stop them. So bring in pressure and, rattle him. Make him throw the ball quicker. Make him throw it away. Make him take sacks. Now, see, the difference between Phillip Rivers and Matt Ryan is Phillip Rivers is very, very good under pressure. Matt Ryan, he usually crumbles under pressure. That's the difference. But, yeah, if the Texans want to stop this Falcons attack, you got to bring pressure. And, maybe, just maybe, Watt, Merciless, Omenihu, and Reader will be enough. But every now and then, send in the blitz, You never know. It might end up helping you win the game. But, yeah. The Texans want to win. Got to do that on defense. Let's move on to the Texans offense versus the Falcons defense. Look, the Texans, they haven't really ran the ball well these past 2 weeks. Last week, however, versus the Panthers, I don't really think the Texans really tried to run the ball all that much, because, I don't know, they just didn't try to run the ball that much. And when they did run the ball, I felt like they were pretty decently successful. I don't know why they didn't do it more. They were doing it early on and it was working, but yeah, you can't expect Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson to get 10, 20-yard carries every single time, Like, 6 yards, 5 yards is okay, 4 yards is okay as well. Like, you don't have to have these huge chunk plays on the ground. But, yeah, the Falcons, they've been struggling to stop the run this season. So I expect the Texans to be able to run the ball really well against this Falcons team. I expect the Texans to give them a huge dose of Carlos Hyde. And I also expect it to be successful. Now, passing-wise, the Texans' passing attack this year has been very inconsistent. Lucky for the Texans, though, the Falcons struggle stopping the pass. Terrible quarterbacks like Jacoby Brissett and Marcus Mariota have been able to have career days against these Falcons these past 2 weeks. Like, all I'm saying is, if Jacoby Brissett and Marcus Mariota can tear up this defense, then Deshaun Watson should be able to have a field day against this defense. He should be able to move the ball easily. However, this season so far, Deshaun Watson has been inconsistent. So what Watson will show up? Will it be last week Watson, or will it be week 1 and week 3 Watson? But, realistically speaking, I think Deshaun Watson should be able to tear up this defense. This Falcons pass rush, besides Grady Jarrett on the inside, they don't really have much there, so I feel like Watson will be able to hold on to the ball forever how he likes in this game, because they don't have that many guys that can rush the passer, so yeah. Now, the keys to this game if the Texans want to win. 1. Get Deshaun Watson in rhythm. Last week, they were off to a good start, I feel like. They drove the ball all the way down to the 50. But then Greg Manx pulls a Greg Manx and lets Deshaun Watson get sacked. Like, he completely got destroyed by Shaq Thompson, and Watson got sacked, and there it was, the whole drive was over, pretty much. So, get Deshaun in rhythm, start off with some runs, some quick passes, don't let him get sacked, let him drive down the field, score a touchdown early on, and, let him settle down, and we'll be good to go. Second key, and the last key, rattle Matt Ryan. Send pressure. Let J.J. Watt get in there. Let Merciless, Omenahu, Reader, throw in Martin as well. Let Jacob Martin get some reps, because we don't want J.J. Watt being gassed out late in the game. So give your other pass rushers some playing time. And I'm specifically talking about Jacob Martin. And that's both of the keys, honestly. I think if the Texans do these two things, they win the game. Now for my prediction. I have the Texans winning 28-23. Look, I just do not see Watson not showing up after last week. You guys saw it. After we lost to the Panthers, like a few hours later, Deshaun Watson was back at NRG practicing. Deshaun Watson knows he had a bad game. I expect Deshaun Watson to have a bounce back game. Why? Because that's just who Deshaun Watson is. Deshaun Watson is a winner. He doesn't want to be good. He wants to be great. And I think Watson will show up in this game, and he will carve up this Falcons defense. And on the other side of the ball, I think J.J. Watt and his compadres are going to show up, and they're going to completely make life a living hell for Matt Ryan. However, this Texans secondary is still very suspect, so I expect Matt Ryan to have some success through the air, but ultimately, I see the Texans coming out on top in this one. So, yeah, that is my prediction for this game. Comment down below your own prediction for this game. And, yeah, be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.